This eerie story begins beside a babbling brook in an ancient forest. 3 explorers, the blonde Mike, the brown-haired Daisuke, and their black-haired friend Leo, were preparing their equipment. The rustling sound of water and leaves created an atmosphere that was both peaceful and imbued with a sense of mystery. Through his camera lens, Leo unexpectedly spotted a strange sight: a frog carrying eggs on its back. He exclaimed, wondering if it was a rare species of marsupial frog. Mike, with his adventurous nature, cheered excitedly, deeming this a rare occurrence. Meanwhile, Leo noticed the frog seemed near death, yet was still trying to incubate its eggs, something truly unusual. The frog's eyes suddenly blinked open, a strange signal amidst the flowing water. The group sensed that something unsettling was about to happen. Leo shivered, blurting out that he couldn't stand these creatures. They looked grotesque and created a feeling of unease. Mike, on the contrary, was extremely enthusiastic. He pointed ahead, exclaiming for everyone to look, as many similar frogs were congregating. Mike continued to praise the sight, saying the riverbank was full of them, a truly magical scene. Daisuke, while taking photos, also noticed the abnormality of them gathering to incubate eggs like this. Leo, with his inherent caution, remarked that such a mass gathering of frogs for incubation was highly unusual. Mike remained extremely excited, believing they were fortunate to capture such unique and rare footage. He boldly speculated that these frogs might have emerged from a cave or some mysterious area. The deeper they ventured into the forest, the gloomier the scenery became. Continuous rustling from the reeds along the bank suggested the presence of even more mysterious creatures. Leo was startled, calling out Mike's name loudly, asking him to wait. His gulping sound indicated extreme tension and anxiety. He warned that the situation was too abnormal and they should be more careful with every step, not to venture blindly. Mike laughed loudly, replying that abnormality meant a new discovery. He asked his friends if they wanted to capture even more amazing and unique footage. Daisuke sighed, commenting that Mike was always drawn to such strange and dangerous things. Leo remained silent, his face full of contemplation. Leo called out after Mike, complaining that he couldn't slow down a bit. The noises continued unabated, like a warning. The 3 continued their challenging journey. Daisuke wiped sweat from his forehead, his face clearly showing fatigue and stress in the stifling forest air. Leo stopped, exclaiming as a sharp object, perhaps the machete he carried, suddenly got caught on a branch, making a small noise. A bizarre forest appeared before them, gnarled tree trunks riddled with holes from which glowing red eyes stared out. The rustling now sounded truly horrifying. The gruesome scenery continued to haunt them. Trees were grotesquely deformed, strange poisonous fungi and hidden red eyes were everywhere in the darkness. Mike's yellow boot stepped on a dry branch, emitting a distinct dry crackle as he curiously ventured deeper into this bizarre and perilous area. Leo exclaimed in fear, wondering what on earth this was. At the same time, a small chirp sounded from somewhere nearby, heightening the tension. A terrifying green snake slithered past, startling all 3, though this snake wasn't excessively frightening to them. Mike burst out laughing. It seemed he was completely captivated by the horrifying and strange spectacle unfolding. Mike continued to laugh loudly, exclaiming in amazement that this was truly magical, an incredibly sophisticated and unique ecosystem he had never seen before. Since returning from that fateful trip, Daisuke never saw Mike again. Leo also confirmed that a month had passed since Mike's disappearance. Daisuke added that ever since stepping into that dense forest, Mike had been acting very abnormally. A door slowly creaked open. accompanied by a cold, grating sound, creating a sense of suspense and anxiety about who was about to appear from behind it. Through the crack in the door, Mike looked out. He recognized his two friends with a hoarse, deep voice, completely different from his usual tone. From inside the room, Mike's voice explained that he had always been trying to recreate the magical symbiosis and horrifying ecological model of that forest. Mike sat there, holding a bizarre creature that looked like a failed experiment. He sadly admitted that all his efforts so far had completely failed. Daisuke worriedly asked about the condition of Mike's arm. Mike replied nonchalantly that it was just a minor, insignificant experiment. Mike gently pressed his finger into his arm. There, small holes and strange creatures were wriggling gruesomely beneath the skin. Mike recounted that he had experimented with the eggs of many different species: toads, cockroaches, horseflies, and even spiders. His face showed clear obsession and exhaustion. He continued, his voice full of disappointment, that in the end, only the horseflies survived. Daisuke, with a worried expression, advised Mike to rest. He noticed Mike's mental state seemed very unstable at that moment. Mike suddenly shouted that he was fine, then passionately asserted that this was a great discovery, a precious unexplored land. Then Mike stood at the door, coldly telling his two friends to leave. He told them not to disturb his research anymore, his voice devoid of any friendliness. A few days later, the phone rang insistently in the dead of the silent night, heralding bad news. Someone was listening to the phone with an extremely tense and worried expression. Perhaps it was important news related to Mike's disappearance. A short message appeared on the screen. "Mike is missing," officially confirming his sudden and mysterious disappearance. Daisuke and Leo rushed to Mike's house. Daisuke said the more he thought about it, the more uneasy he felt, so he decided to go back and check, but he had searched everywhere and found nothing. The night sky revealed a cold crescent moon and distant twinkling stars, signaling a perilous nighttime search. The two friends decided to return to the terrifying dense forest. They said this was the place. Luckily, they still remembered the way and found it again. They searched carefully and discovered fresh footprints and a remaining frog. Leo exclaimed, "Look! Footprints!" The two friends stood in the dark and gloomy forest. They used flashlights to light their way. The surrounding atmosphere became extremely tense and suffocating. They cautiously proceeded deeper into the dense and wild forest. The weak flashlight beam could only illuminate a small area in the endless darkness. Before them stood a giant, ancient tree, rotten from the inside. The two friends were startled, astonished to discover an unusual shape looming vaguely ahead of them in the darkness. The body was covered with plants and strange creatures, becoming increasingly clear and terrifying. The figure became more distinct. Its body was horrifically transformed, merged with rotten trees and poisonous fungi of the forest. They recognized the deformed figure as none other than their missing friend. His eyes were now bloodshot, gruesome parasitic creatures growing all over his body. Mike, now completely transformed into a part of the forest, spoke in a hoarse, deep voice, saying that he had finally become one with this place. A tragic end